Welcome to Retro Spectrum, where we time travel through the entire discography of different bands every other week and then come together and talk about them.
Sometimes going 88 miles per hour, sometimes not so much.
We spent a lot of time in 88, specifically the year this season.
And the Replacements was active in the 88, yeah?
Yeah, they may or may not remember it, but they were there. I think like this episode was kind of a missed opportunity. It would have been really fun to get blackout drunk and record our Replacements episode, and also like been in the spirit of the band to just release whatever unedited, whatever would have happened to come out. So we didn't do that, but if we ever do the Replacements again, I vote we do it that way.
Oh gosh, I don't know if it'd be fun for me at this age to be blackout drunk. Period.
No, it would be a horror. Everything about it would be terrible. But like I said, I think that would be in the spirit of the band.
That could be true. That could be true. And I gotta say, since this episode and since doing this band, Unsatisfied, that song has sort of become like a whole life anthem for me. So I'm really glad we did this one. It was really fun.
Yeah, it turns out multiple listens to this band really benefit them. They grow on you a little bit more, I think, than they do just through the first listen. So yeah, there have been some songs that I've had in my rotation since doing this a little more often, and I own most of their albums at this point. So definitely think I came away being a fan.
The shit is rotating in my head randomly all the time. So good choice.
Thanks. Here's the Replacements.
So you might enjoy this. Look at what I just bought. It's one of those super fat Reese's cups, but this one has Reese's Puff cereal inside it.
Have you tried it?
No.
I got one that is that same thing, the giant one, but it has like a layer of caramel inside of it.
I've been dying to try that one.
It's too much. It's like it's too intense. It's too sweet.
Yeah, I can see that. I prefer dark chocolate. And so I kind of get these bougie dark chocolate peanut butter cups is what I usually eat. But I've just seen this a bunch of times at the store recently. And I've been on a cereal kick lately. And I got basically the Reese's Puffs, but like the fucking Sprouts version or whatever, like the Trader Joe's version or whatever.
Those places do
like
not.
The healthy version.
Healthy cereal places, or like healthy places, do terrible cereal. It's a real bummer.
It tastes like shit.
Yeah.
It's straight up.
Where'd you say you got it from?
I think I got it from Trader's.
Yeah, we got the same thing. The Reese's Puffs
had no flavor.
It was the worst cereal I've ever had.
It was fucking garbage. Kashi or Kashi is worse, but
Kelly had a bowl and was like, "This is gross," and I was like, whatever. I'm sure it will be fine. It was like water resistant. Like it didn't soak in the milk.
Oh yeah, I let it soak in my milk for a long time, and that helped as far as the texture goes, but the taste, the flavor was not there. Like it tasted so fucking bland. It was like once I like soaked it for long enough to be able to actually chew it, it was like just like soggy, unflavored cornmeal.
yeah, none of that's good.
But visually it looks like Reese's Puffs.
Yeah,
so they totally tricked you.
That was the most disappointing thing, is like looking at it, I was like, I'm sure this will be fine, but like no, it was not. I
was thinking Reese's Puffs, but with like a little less sugar. This was like basically no sugar is how it tasted anyway. It tasted like no sugar, period. Okay, here we go. Oh my God. I'm so happy.
Good.
It's so good.
Are you good?
I don't want to cry.
Are you going to cry? Let it out.
That was way better than I expected.
Get it out of the way early.
This is more suited for my other podcast, but oh my God. Wow. I wish I could teleport this through the fucking screen to you, because it would turn your whole day around. Damn, that was amazing. I'm shook. I'm like, do I take another bite? Do I save it? Oh my God, that was really good. I am shocked. I thought that the cereals would be too crunchy, but it's not too crunchy.
Well, so scale of 1 to 10, how many puffs?
11, bitch. So good.
11 puffs out of 10.
That was incredible, for reals. I haven't had that much joy out of a singular bite in quite a while. Although that croque madame I made recently, I need to make that again soon.
I got some pico stewing in the fridge right now.
Ooh, nice.
It's got radishes and cucumbers in it.
Oh God, so good.
It's quite good. I had to go to a store and buy a special kind of chili, a dried chili to blend up and put in there.
Oh my God, you got to see this. I'm so fucking excited about this. I walked out to my garden today, and guess who's popping?
Mary.
A fucking poblano.
Oh, nice. This is the tiniest little poblano.
I know. It's new. And speaking of tiny, the tiniest strawberry you've ever seen in your fucking life.
So tiny, in fact.
It's like barely changed from bud to berry.
Is it green in the middle there?
Yeah.
Cool.
So cute.
Did you do the strawberries from seed or were they?
No. So last year I tried to do some things from seed and most of it didn't pan out. The only thing that came up was my Thai basil. That's literally the only thing that came up. I only did like 3 things or 4 things. This year I did all from plants and like vegetable cuttings, you know?
Mhm.
So I have potatoes, onions, and garlic growing from vegetable cuttings. And there's a few other things I'm going to try. Apparently you can grow a fucking pineapple from a pineapple top. So I'm going to try that because fucking A, that would be sick, right? So yeah, everything else I got like already little plants or sprouts or whatever the fuck. And the only thing that's died so far is the snow peas. And I actually just stole them when I went to buy this shit from Lowe's because they were in a whole tray where everything was dead except for 2 tiny little sprouts. And so I just like jacked them out of there and thought maybe I could rehab them, but no, they died. But yeah, everything else is looking pretty good except for the watermelons aren't doing so good. And I just Googled today. Apparently watermelons grow really well in sandy, loamy soil, and mine is literally the opposite of that. It's like thick black clay. So I don't know if they'll do much, but
You
we'll
can
find
go buy
out.
some dirt,
They're not dead.
import some dirt.
Yeah, money is a problem, but I have thought about it. I could buy like 1 bag of dirt and maybe just like put it on top of what I've already got, and maybe that would help things. I don't know. My dad said I needed to till it more, which I didn't really do at all. What I really wanted to try last year that I didn't get around to was just like the neglect freewheeling method of just like tossing some seeds out and see what
Yeah.
happens. So this is just kind of a step up from that. What I'm doing right now is I put the plants in the ground. Let's see what happens, kind of a thing. I didn't spend like $1 million on it or anything, you know, but I'm excited. I got two tomato plants that are pretty tall. One of them's like up to here. And my cucumber is trying to take over everything, which is interesting. And apparently those can grow up. So I'm going to get a trellis thing and see if I can grow it upwards, which will be cool. I'm pretty fucking jazzed about it. I hope my blueberry does something.
I just
But
have
yeah.
3 little tiny tomato plants that I haven't
Cute.
planted yet. They're still in a cup. I need to go put them in the garden. But our basil from last year started to come up on its own.
Nice. That's so badass. Yeah. Everything I was reading about that I wanted to do, it was like, you're supposed to put it in the ground in like fucking April or some shit.
Yeah.
So I just tried to get a bunch of shit in there as soon as I could.
Probably have missed the boat on these tomatoes. I'm not sure if they'll end up
I bet
working.
they'll still do because it's just hot for so fucking long here. And I don't know, maybe it gets too hot and kills them. But tomatoes seem hardy. I don't know. What's too hot for a tomato? Apparently, watermelons do good up into like around 90, but higher than that, it's not so good, I guess, which is it gets way fucking hotter than that here.
Yeah, they're already past. I thought they
Right. That's like this week. My grandpa always grew watermelons here. So, but he grew them at the Barty, and that is sand.
Well, they probably started growing them earlier in the year, so they're like ready by the time it gets super hot.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that probably seems right that we'd probably be like eating them in August or whatever.
Yeah, or
Which-
July or June.
Yeah, maybe mine. I don't know. If I could get something off of it, I'd be fucking excited. I'm excited that anything's doing anything out there, and nothing seems to be like eating it or anything so far. Pretty good. This is my first attempt at a garden as an adult, so I just want to see if I can get myself to figure out how to grow some shit for apocalypse vibes, you know?
Yeah.
And just for food, like, you know, just grow my own food because the majority of what I buy at the grocery store is produce, and it just keeps getting more and more expensive. So if I could just grow my own produce, like the main stuff that I eat the most, that would be really handy. And then I could save my food money for like, you know, splurges or whatever shit that I can't make myself, like super fancy cheeses and stuff like that.
You can make cheese.
I know, but it's such a pain in the dick.
Just hot milk.
Ew.
Just old spoiled milk.
Disgusting.
Just
hot milk.
specifically spoiled milk.
Yeah, I just don't know how to specifically do that. Although I think I might have made some yogurt accidentally as a child.
Yeah.
There were definitely multiple times in my childhood that I remember a bowl of cereal being left on the counter so long that, just like the cereal milk after, that it got like thick, like yogurt.
Yeah, I don't know if that's necessarily the strategy you would want to use if you were going to make your own.
I would tend to agree. I don't know the official process, but I do know that if you leave a bowl of cereal milk on the counter, it will get gelatinous after, I don't know, a couple days or something. And it didn't like smell spoiled and it wasn't moldy or anything. It was just a change of texture. So who knows how that happened? I'm gonna need to look that up later. Actually, now that we're talking about this, I'm gonna go hyper focus on that for 2 hours later when I should be sleeping or something.
No, when you should be listening to the next band.
Yeah, which I know and you don't.
How was your replacements listening experience?
It was really good. I wish I hadn't been so busy the past couple weeks so I could have listened harder, although I did listen multiple times because it's pretty short.
I did the same thing with this one, but like the first listen, I didn't really, it was just kind of on while I was doing other stuff. Like specifically, I was mowing the yard and listening to some of it, which like was a straight up 12-year-old experience. Like
Yeah,
it
for
made
sure.
me feel like such a little kid again.
It's hard to listen to stuff when you mow the lawn though, because you have to turn that shit up so fucking loud
I mean, that's
to drown.
that's
Do you,
what you
wait,
got
you
to
have an
do.
electric mower?
No,
Oh, you don't?
no.
Those are more quiet.
I used to drive around listening to the like CD player Walkman when I mowed the yard when I was a kid, and you had to like
it was a riding lawnmower?
no, it was a push. So I would have the Walkman in my pocket, but have to like walk around in a way that didn't make the CD skip. So it was like kind of like peg leg. You got to keep it straight and keep it from bouncing too much. And like it was a whole thing. It's a lot easier now with Bluetooth
I bet you looked
headphones.
so goofy.
I also am sure that I was like singing along really loud to it and stuff, like way louder than the lawnmower. And
Ooh,
yeah.
I love the thought of that mental image.
I'm glad the cameras weren't like everybody had one all the time when I was a kid.
All your neighbors would have been putting you on TikTok. There would have been a whole ass TikTok dedicated to the dorky guy mowing his lawn, screaming.
Yeah, just for being dumb, just doing dumb stuff without thinking of like other people constantly being able to film you and put you online.
Yeah, no, for real, dude. They're at the street dance recently. Apparently there's a fight in the alley and we're like trying to get together a task force to take care of stuff like that so we don't have to tell the cops because then they'll stop letting us do this stuff if we tell them. So we have to like keep it on the DL like and just figure it out ourselves, which is fucking cops are useless. Anyway, back to what we were saying. Yeah, kids can't lie about anything anymore because it's all on their fucking phones. She was like 4 or 5 of them recorded it. They didn't like post it anywhere, but still it was on all their phones. So like all their parents got involved and like it was a whole. But yeah, that would suck ass. Dude, if some of the shit that I did was on video, oh my God. No, thank you. I'm really glad. We really got the tail end of like the good times. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the introduction of the internet where it was like, oh, this is a cool thing you can do a bunch of stuff with, rather than like
it's the end of the world now. And we're all surveilled.
it can consume your entire life. And yeah.
Man, I personally think actually that Gen X was had the best time, like the generation right before us, because they got to experience the internet too as older adults. I mean, not that much older, but as like people our age and a little younger. Like when the internet started popping off, Gen X was like in their 30s, but they got to have like the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, like all that primo shit right there. I feel like the 70s to the 90s is like maybe the 60s to the 90s is like the most fun time to exist. There's like still wars and stuff and like racism and like homophobia and all that. And that obviously that's still all happening now. So,
right.
But that just seems like a time when we didn't know as much. So things were a little bit more lax in certain areas that made things fun, you know? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's rose-colored glasses. I think every generation that has lived any time feels that way.
I mean, I wouldn't want to have lived before that time.
You probably wouldn't have wanted to live during that time either.
Well, they had electricity. They had badass music. They had movies, they had like cool media, fun shit to do all the time. Like fucking, I would have been at CBGB's watching the Replacements. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that may or may not have been fun depending on the night. On how they felt performing.
Yeah, that's what every single person has said about them.
Yeah, which is why I think it's so funny that there were so many that were like, "Us, I've seen him 8 times or whatever," and it's like, yeah, I guess you would have to play the odds and be like,
Yeah.
"I'm gonna
One
buy
person was
four
like, I've seen him
tickets."
300 times. Yeah, well, back when tickets were $5 each or $10 each and not fucking $300 or more, it was a lot less serious versus like when we went to see, what was that, Modest Mouse or something? He was so drunk that the show was just fucking terrible.
Yeah, that's. I was thinking about that show a lot looking
Hmm.
into this because it was like that show sucked. It wasn't fun as much as I don't know. At least these still seemed like they had a sense of humor, or at least like the whole band was in on the joke or whatever. And that really seemed like the whole rest of the band was pissed off and just Isaac Brock was drunk and ruining the time for everybody.
Yes, I agree. The Replacements actually were all in it together and having a
Yeah.
good time, except for maybe the drummer sometimes. It
Or
seemed like he
maybe
was the chill
not
one.
having a good, I think that having a
Or,
good
you know,
time
whatever.
is, yeah, questionable. I think having a good time for a while, but I think there was a point. So had you ever really listened to them before?
Yeah, I knew quite a few of their songs, and I have quite a few of their songs on different like playlists of mine and stuff. As I told you before, I always got them confused with the Stooges for some reason.
Yeah, I think that's
Um,
reasonable.
I love Iggy Pop. I would like to do the Stooges. And on my list of bands to do for this show, like I have a long ass list of bands that I want to talk about. Husker Du was on the list, but the Replacements were not on the list. So I'm glad that you chose them because it was
Yeah, it's kind of the
fun.
other side
Yeah.
of that. Because I've thought about Husker Du as well, although I've listened to them more than I have the Replacements. I have a couple of their albums and I'm a little bit more familiar with them. That's part of why I picked this band. Is it's kind of surprising I've never listened to them because they circle a lot of the same bands or genres
Yeah,
or
well, I was
vibes
fucking
or
obsessed with Nirvana, and Nirvana was into Husker Du and the Replacements.
right.
And so that's how I heard of these bands, I think, was through Nirvana because Kurt would like talk about who he liked. Like
Apparently there
Mudhoney
was a
and
beef with him and Paul Westerberg, which okay,
oh really?
let me throw this out there and see how you feel. I'm gonna make some references throughout this to get your reaction. Paul
Okay.
Westerberg to me, the lead singer and guitar player, and like basically who ended up being like the main guy, and also I think the reason that the band broke up. Like I think it became more and more about him until none of the other band members were on board anymore, and he just did his solo career.
I kind of feel like that was his master plan from day one.
What from like interviews and performance and just general vibe, he gives me Mark Maron vibes.
Interesting.
How do you feel about that?
That didn't occur to me at all, but now I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch some things and see because as you know, I love Mark Maron.
Well, he seems funny, but he also seems like cranky
He's definitely funny and intelligent.
and smart, but like also kind of mean. And I'm thinking like not current Mark Maron,
relate.
Mark Maron
Young
before
Mark
he did all
Maron.
this work
Yeah.
on himself. Doesn't
Right.
mind pissing people off and burning bridges and ruffling feathers of the people that, he deems the feathers need to be ruffled. But also like, I don't know. And it's not a one-to-one analogy or whatever, but just watching him and like mannerisms and attitude wise, it put me in mind of Maron.
Interesting. He kind of visually reminds me of like Tom Waits meets Nick Cave or something.
Yeah, I think he'd be, but also like a rodeo clown.
Well, yeah, there were people in a couple of the documentaries that I watched that described them as clowns
Yeah.
in appearance and probably action as well,
Yeah.
because they like to dress up funny for their shows and stuff. Like one guy wore a tutu a bunch. Like everyone mentioned the fucking tutu. And they have a side project band that's like basically a joke, it seems like. But I don't know. All their stuff seems like half joke, half not, which I totally get on board with that vibe. That's
Yeah.
my whole thing. But yeah, they had it was called Jefferson's Cock, and their roadie was like the lead guy in it, and they wore dresses to all those shows. They like totally dressed in drag, like did makeup and everything for all those shows in a not poking fun at drag kind of way either. Like just that's what they wanted to do kind of way, which I thought was cool.
Where did you find that? I didn't see that.
So the roadie wrote a book, Lemon Jail, on the road with the Replacements. Yeah. So anyway, I don't remember. Maybe it was a documentary that I watched about them or something. That I heard some excerpts from that Lemon Jail book where he was talking about and then I think I looked it up and researched it a little bit. But yeah, it was like just a little side project. Basically, the Replacements got asked to play a house party, and so they decided to play it as a different band. And so that's what happened there. Their roadie was the lead singer, and the roadie came on stage and sang with them a lot too. This Bill Sullivan character, like when they did covers and stuff, he would like come on and sing the covers, kind of like the fucking who else did that? Iron Maiden.
I don't remember that with them either. I don't know. You're into the roadie lore.
Sorry, I didn't mean to get weird. I just thought that all the cross-dressing that they did was cool, because back to the Mark Maron aspect of it, it seemed like he was really intelligent and open, and like his lyrical content was like androgynous, for instance.
Yeah.
Very pro be yourself, do whatever the fuck you want kind of a vibe.
Yeah, but surprisingly progressive with gender politics in the 80s being what they were, and
Well, a
in
lot of
punk
punk
rock.
is like that.
Yeah, but a lot of punk is also not like that. I mean, especially if
to
you get
me,
into
isn't
like the
punk.
hardcore,
Yeah, that's not punk to me.
like tough guy shit.
They don't count. To me, to be punk, you have to be having a message behind it.
So, how much did you look into about the beginning of the band?
Well, did you read that article I sent you?
Yeah.
Because that all sounded really fucked up. They're all like high school dropouts, sure. But the fact that the lead singer guy, what's his name again?
Paul Westerberg.
Westerberg. Every time I hear that name, I can only think of Westerberg High, which is the high school in Heathers.
Huh, I wonder if there's a connection there.
Maybe, because it seems like so many people are hugely influenced by the Replacements. And I like how the Replacements, the people they were influenced by, they were real clear about it with their like the titles of their albums or songs or like lyrics in their songs. They talk about,
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of Replacements fans are similar. Like they name shit after them.
To me, this band has like a very devoted fan base, but a very deep but narrow fan base. Like not a ton of people, but the people that are into them, it's like they are the Beatles,
the best
to them,
band in the whole world.
Yeah,
yes.
and like if they click with them, they click on with them on the level of like this is the greatest band, and it doesn't seem like there's like casual Replacements fans.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I would call myself a casual fan.
I think if I would have listened to them when I was 12 or 13 or 14 or whatever, like if I had listened to them growing up, I could see myself. There's a version of me where this is this band, that band to me.
Yeah.
I think even now listening to it, that like they were the next Clash or the American Clash or like the torchbearers from the Clash. I think there's a ton of parallels between their career and the Clash's career.
Just the trajectory of the albums and stuff.
Yes.
Although towards the end of the newer albums went surprisingly kind of Bruce Springsteen-y to me.
Do you remember Cut the Crap? I mean, the last Clash album, the one from the late 80s that was like...
When you're like, what the fuck is this?
That's how I felt about not actually.
Yeah, they are the American
Replacements album, but Don't Tell a Soul. Like listening to that, I was like, oh, this is like that one.
Like, what is happening?
The Clash album that's like, what are we doing?
Yeah, they got really 80s.
I have a lot of thoughts about the flow of their stuff. I kind of want to get into that because to me, they are the quintessential trajectory of a sellout band. Like if you look at just what each of their albums were and like the context within what it was released, I think they fit that trajectory perfectly. I don't necessarily think that they are sellouts because I don't think they were ever successful enough to be.
They tried to be sellouts, but then they didn't sell.
Had they gotten their shit together enough to like get super huge and famous and popular and stuff, I think you could have that conversation. But they like the recording aspect of them, I think fits the sellout quote unquote mold. Like when you think of like how that career path goes, theirs fits that perfectly. But them independently and personally, I don't think fits that because they didn't change themselves enough to like get it together to be part of the machine or whatever.
Well, that's what happens when you're inauthentic and you try to be something that you're not. It's like it doesn't fully sell because that's not you.
I don't know, because I don't feel like they wrote inauthentically. I think it came off more polished and more. I think there was a lot of stuff on the production end that wasn't really even due to them. That was kind of due to the label.
But that is kind of inauthentic to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It might not be their doing, but it's an inauthentic representation of them.
I think it was more about the like playing the media game and playing nice with other bands and
Sure.
playing your shows well and, you know, touring and all that sort of stuff. Like that's the stuff that they didn't change for or whatever. They just did what they were already doing, and it just doesn't have mass appeal. The stuff that they were doing didn't have mass appeal.
It didn't mesh with the like polished version either.
Yes.
Like if you hear a record that sounds like a certain way and then you go to the show and it's just like drunken chaos, you're just like, what the fuck is this?
But like not every show was drunken chaos. Some shows are really good. Like I don't
Right.
know.
Well, and that's what's tricky and probably part of why the fan base is so deep and narrow, because the people who saw the good shows
Yeah.
or went to enough shows to see some good shows, you know,
Yeah.
probably stuck in there, but all the people who went to the bad shows probably fell off right away, you know?
Or like that was your introduction to them, or
One of the guys was like, I've thought this is the worst band in the world, and I've also thought this is the best band in the world about this band.
I saw it was some interview somewhere that said that they wanted to be the best or like the most popular worst band ever.
Yeah, I saw that too. I think it was Westerberg that said that.
Like they wanted to be extremely popular, but they wanted to be terrible also. And it was like you can see that in their motivation.
Yeah, totally. I saw an interview with him saying like about those later albums that he was trying to be more mainstream.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think the songwriting, I think it got better. I think they became, and he specifically became, a better songwriter, but it also lost its like abrasiveness.
Well, he was just trying harder probably too.
Because those first couple of albums, the first 2 albums and the EP. Well, actually, really, let's just talk about Sorry Ma. And did you listen to Stink?
Yeah.
The one that opens with the cop shutting down the party, which is like, what a perfect opening to like a young, scrappy punk band album.
I loved all their clips, like the live show clips and all the shit. I love that.
The like in between stuff and the little sketches and stuff in between songs.
I feel like that's a very 80s thing to do too. Like people don't really do that anymore. But for some reason, like they Might Be Giants did a lot of that. There was another band that we did that did a lot of that. The Clash did that. I mean, that they had that whole album that was just them fucking talking, just random recordings of them talking. It's just cool to like have a little bit of the actual vibe of them in real life on a record, you know what I mean? So I like those little.
And I think their first 4 are extremely good representations of that. You got the production quality is the capturing of the studio. Like it doesn't sound like there's a bunch of overdubs, and I feel like you got that version that day, and if they would have recorded that same song on a different day, it would sound not completely different, but like they weren't performing it the same every single time, and you got the snapshot that day of how it was recorded, you know, in the studio that time. The first 2 are like straight up just like punk rock albums, right? Like screaming dude, loud, fast, aggressive.
Super fun. Reminded me of like the Descendants and all kinds of stuff.
Yes, very Descendants heavy. Reminded me of the first 2 Clash albums that are like their punk rock albums, right? Their first one especially. So it's Paul Westerberg, Tommy Stinson, who is like the bass player, and the other, I would argue, like main member of the band. He was in through the whole thing, and when they reunited in 2012, it was Tommy Stinson and Paul Westerberg with another guitar player and another drummer. Did you see how young Tommy Stinson was when this band started?
What was he, like 14 or something?
No, he was like 12, like trying to play shows with a 12-year-old. So even all the way up through the 80s.
Yeah, well, one thing said that he was like trying to keep his little brother out of trouble, so he started a band with him or something like that.
Yeah. Bob Stinson was his older brother, the other guitar player.
And Bob's the one that died, right?
Yes. Yeah, he was like 6 years older than him. And so Paul and Chris Mars and Bob are all relatively similar aged, like within a year or 2 of each other's. And then they have Bob's little brother, Tommy.
Well, and I'm pretty sure Westerberg's like 15 or something too.
He was a similar age to the older guys. He wasn't quite as young.
Were the older guys around 15?
It started in 79. They were born in like 60 or something. I think they were closer to like 18 or 20.
I just am imagining Westerberg being this creepy little guy hiding in the bushes outside their basement or whatever, listening in on their band practice for who knows how long before he like weaseled his way in the band. What are your thoughts on that? Because I kind of feel like I didn't do enough research or listen to enough interviews with him specifically to really be able to say, but I kind of get a vibe that like all of this was his master plan somehow. and that like he actually wanted to be like big famous band kind of a thing.
I think they're one of those artists that make stuff up in interviews, so it's hard to get a real read on what happened. I think whatever did happen has been mythologized to the point now that it's like more of a story than reality. But like the story is that he was walking home and heard them practicing in the garage and like thought, hey, that sounds like a cool band. Wanted to join the band. They already had another lead singer. And so he like convinced that other dude that the rest of the band didn't like him and like talked him into quitting the band or like not showing back up for practice.
This guy's nefarious.
And then took his place as like, hey, I'll sing for you guys if you guys need a singer, and then became their singer. Like because he convinced this other dude not to. But so they're all the same age. I just looked up their ages. They're all the same age except for Tommy, who was like the kid. So they were around 17 or 18 when they started. So he was a lot younger than them, which I just think is so funny that it would have been funny to see all these dudes that are like post high school age rolling up with a literal 13-year-old trying to play bass in these shows. And it's also interesting to think about throughout their entire career. So they were really from like 1979 to 91, right? Which for Tommy Stinson, he's 13 to like 25. He's 25 only by the time the Replacements break up.
Score.
Yeah, still super
Get that part of
young.
your life out of the way.
Yeah,
move on to the next part.
Have already been a part of this like iconic group just by the age 25.
What do you think differentiates a band like the Replacements from any other similar band at the time? Because I feel like how many bands that like we've been in and like been friends with and toured around or whatever, how many different bands of people we've known that sounded just as good, if not better, than something that's really popular or famous or whatever, but no one's ever going to know about because they weren't there at that time and the band never got like big or whatever. Is it just the record label situation back then? Was that the thing that you just had to get signed somehow? And if you didn't, you just kind of never existed almost?
I think part of it is like a community that is plugged in and like thirsty for what you're doing. I think the Minneapolis scene in the 80s was like a place where people were actively involved and looking for the next big thing and stuff. And so when they came up, they were different than the rock and the pop rock at the time. Even in their first couple albums, when they like brought in a demo tape, listening to that demo tape, the dude was like, guys, stop everything you're doing and come listen to this. So there has to be some element of novelty or creativity or some sort of hook.
I'm just thinking like I've felt that way towards bands before that no one's ever heard of or gonna hear of.
Well, but then having that network, once they're plugged into like, hey, somebody says pay attention to this, and then other people are paying attention to that
it's
person.
Just you got to find the right person to say pay attention.
Yes.
Is the only difference. I feel like that sucks. That is one cool thing about the internet, because it would be, I mean, obviously it's the whole world you're competing against or whatever, if you will, but there's also the whole world is your audience. So like you're more likely to find your fan base, I guess, now that the internet exists.
I think it's harder because everything is on an equal playing field. And before it was like you needed to find the one guy and give him the cassette and he would get it on the radio and then it would get played to everybody because everybody was listening to the radio. And now it's like you give the thing to the one guy and he throws it on the internet and it just goes on the internet with you. Like when you upload your shit to Spotify, you're putting it on the same platform as Beyonce and Lady Gaga. And like, if people have the choice to choose shit they already know that's good, that they already like, versus like your nothing thing, your little drop in the giant ocean or whatever, like it's way harder to get eyes on your stuff just because there's so much content available all the time.
It's tricky.
It's not really about quality.
Well, I feel like it could be about quality that way if everyone's on an even playing field, you know what I mean? But again, like you said, it's got to be, and like Beyonce and shit have fucking representatives. So they're pushing their shit.
Right.
The unrepresented masses on the internet are, I guess, similar to the unrepresented masses of pre-internet times.
Really what it is now is like going viral. And I feel like such an old guy saying that, but like you have to do something that catches the attention or the zeitgeist or hits a specific thing at a specific time and then blows up through the like viral network of sharing. But it's kind of it's like reverse. It's not top down anymore. It's not like it's
Yeah.
not like you're telling one guy and then he's telling everybody else. You're telling everybody, and then slowly gets filtered up to, if your stuff pokes through. But then, you go viral for a song clip, and then how does that translate into like, also I think it's very difficult to make money playing in a band, and
Period.
How'd you feel about Hootenanny?
I liked it. I was expecting kind of to not like it just because of the name and the cover, but I actually liked it.
I love the cover. I think the covers are really fun. It looks like a 50s cocktail.
Yeah, it looks like some fucking They Might Be Giants shit is what it looks like.
I was listening through, just like kind of speed running through stuff this morning, and it was like, okay, this feels like a joke from the beginning. Like from the very first track, it feels like this entire album is just like they're having fun and goofing off.
Most of their shit feels like a joke to me.
And I think there's a sense of humor in the first couple of albums, but those feel like they're trying for something, like they're really trying to be punk rock. And none of them were punk rockers. Like they didn't dress like punk rockers or really act like punk rockers. I think there's a part of like punk rock's kind of easier to play, and so when you're first starting out, like that's a good place to go.
Sure. They're like gutter punks is what they look like to me.
This one has all kind of musical influence, and like it really truly is a hootenanny, where it just feels like, hey, we got studio time, let's pick up a mandolin and put that on here, or let's write goofy. I don't know, this is a goofy album.
The song Willpower was giving Fugazi vibes to me.
You remember when we did Fugazi and we talked about Rites of Spring a little bit, the first band, and how it was like the beginning of emo, like it sounded like At the Drive-In and all the like early 2000s emo. The Replacements are the other side of the beginning of emo for me. Like I think if you mix the early Fugazi with probably mid-era Replacements, like that's what the emo genre like melded together to become what it was. I think anybody that recorded music from like the 90s up until 2010 have a huge debt to the Replacements. After listening to them, I think that they were hugely influential.
A lot of them probably don't even fucking know either, because the Replacements influenced other bands that they were influenced by, but don't know that it came from the Replacements, kind of a thing. I liked Love Lines.
But like Hootenanny, imagine being a punk rocker fan of theirs and like finally like discovering them or seeing them in a basement, or like buying one of their hand stamped Stink EPs or whatever. And then you see that Hootenanny is coming out, and then going and buying Hootenanny and putting it on. And the first song is like a rambly honky tonk mountain folk music, like.
I'm kind of used to punk bands doing that.
But I think this is the beginning of seeing the Replacements like, we're getting momentum, we're doing a thing, and then like immediately taking a left turn and like not capitalizing on it and doing something totally different, which is now part of what makes them endearing. But at the time I could see being off-putting to people, or like, I think it's good that they did it so we didn't just get 8, straightforward punk albums or whatever. And that's still all on the independent Minneapolis label. Like they're doing it on their own, like they're self-sabotaging from an early point in their career. Here's what I'm labeling Hootenanny mentally. It's the Sandinista of the Midwest.
Yeah.
Like, how the Clash took all of their influences and all the reggae and all the like Jamaican stuff and then put everything in it. That's what Hootenanny is, except
although at least Hootenanny is short.
Well, that's true. Short-ish. They recorded like, that's why there's so many B-sides and stuff on it. Like they recorded like 30 tracks every album cycle, and then would put 15 or whatever on each album. But which like Sandinista should have done that. But they took all their influences. It just was like more like Southern rock or like folk music or classic rock influenced than the Clash's.
Yeah, they got kind of like Americana towards the end. Like it was really interesting. I did not really super expect it the way that they went sonically over time,
I 100% agree. Didn't really expect it. Didn't really care for it all that much. But I have thoughts about those. I like, but to me that makes, okay, so you have Sandinista followed by the Clash's combat rock, right? Like you like, here's all of our influences,
kind of like
here's
a
everything.
reprise.
And then you're like, okay, let's like, what do we actually want to like, what do we want to take from all those places and then make it ours? And that to me is Let It Be, is they like, we're able to focus in on it a little bit, like make it a little more concise and consistent and focused.
I agree.
Yeah, so Let It Be. That's the album cover that when I think Replacements, that's the image that I see is them sitting on the roof.
Yeah.
The cover of Let It Be. I mean, I've seen that album referenced a bunch, like, which is part of, again, why I wanted to go through and listen to this, because I know that bands that I listen to talk about the Replacements and point to them as influences. And so this was like one that I was really looking forward to getting to. How'd you feel about it?
It's so good.
Yeah.
It has so many of their like hits, I guess. I Will Dare.
Great song.
We're Coming Out, Unsatisfied, Androgynous. It's good shit.
How do you feel about the song Answering Machine?
It has like answering machine recordings and shit, right?
Yeah.
A lot of their shit kind of reminded me of They Might Be Giants or Chumbawamba.
Yeah.
They definitely have Chumbawamba vibes. Because Chumbawamba was also like a little bit self-sabotagey in a way. Or they just did what the fuck they wanted to.
I think they were more conscientious about their self-sabotage. Like, I think they're more intentional.
I think this Westerberg guy, I'm telling you, I think he had more intention than people imagine. I'm getting some vibe from him that every single thing was all a master plan of his, like mixed with alcoholism. So obviously there's fuckery in there too.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like he really did have like a thing he wanted to do. A lot of his choices seem very specific to me and like intentional, even though it might seem like chaos.
Hilarious to name an album Let It Be. Like,
yeah.
I mean, so funny. Again, I think an example of them not really playing the game. Like, they had a funny idea, they went ahead and did it, like, without a thought of the repercussions. Or
well, there was a different album that they wanted to name after the guy died. They wanted to name the album Where's Bob? And the record label was like, nah, dog. Do not do that.
No, it was
So
after they
didn't
kicked him
let
out of the band, not after he died. Because he died in 95. So yeah, but yeah.
That's way fucking funnier, actually. The label should have
To
just
do
let
it
them
after they kicked him out of the band.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, for
after
sure.
After he's dead is still kind of funny, but less.
They kicked Bob out, and Tommy is his half brother, is still in the band. And even in interviews and stuff where they were talking about like Bob not being in the band anymore, they would just kind of like side eye each other. And it was weird to see them together and his brother being kicked out.
Yeah.
This whole time, tons of booze, tons of drugs, like just being messed up, live shows being all over the place. Did you listen to any of the 80s live recordings like that? The Shit Hits the Fans bootleg?
Yeah, just little clips. I didn't listen to the whole thing. Chaos.
I didn't either. So they would get like messed up and play shows, and people would do that thing where you yell out, you know, play Freebird or whatever random covers.
Yeah.
And they would play the random covers or like, and not well or not the whole thing, but they'd like figure out here's 3 or 4 chords and would like do their best to play. Yeah. Like, which again, super fun.
They do medleys of random shit.
Super funny. And also like, if you're seeing that live, you've got to think like, I am seeing the only version of this. Like this show only exists on this night.
Which does make a show really fun. Well, and I think that's part of why they endured as well, because of just lore.
There were a surprising amount of bootlegs, though, for them being an 80s band. Like, there were a lot of live show recordings.
It seems like they played a fuck ton of shows. And it seems like there were so many, like, guys that were obsessed with them back then that probably fucking old record store guys are fucking doing bootlegs left and right, I'm sure.
The Shit Hits the Fans was recorded in Oklahoma City, which I thought was cool. And they like found the dude that was recording it. He was recording it from the soundboard, and they stole the tape or they, you know, took the tape from him because it's their, like, you're not supposed to be bootlegging shows or whatever. Yeah. And then we're listening to the tape like on their drive home from the tour and was like,
and they're like, sick, let's put this out.
Yeah. Like, oh wait, this actually sounds good. Like, so it was like an official release. It was on their label.
Did you see their potato stamp that they made? Yeah, that's good stuff. How about that Kiss cover?
I did not listen to that one. Wait.
It's on Let It Be.
Which track?
Black Diamond.
Oh, see, I didn't know it was a Kiss cover, not a Kiss person.
I'm a Kiss guy, so. Dude, okay, so many weird bands were influenced by this band. Okay, I think this band was influenced by a bunch of random weird bands, and then this band influenced a bunch of random weird bands that don't sound like them at all.
It was like a nexus, like a prism.
Yes.
They took all this stuff in, and then all this other stuff came out on the other side.
Fucking weird, man. And that's another reason they endure, I bet. because like the fucking Goo Goo Dolls are obsessed with them. Like
Yeah.
so many random weird people are obsessed with them. Like Norm from fucking Cheers.
Yeah, he was in that documentary. It was like, oh, there's Norm. And he's like, yeah, I think that song Here Comes a Regular. I think that's about Norm. And I was like, that song is clearly about him being old and drunk and the only guy in the bar, Norm. But like, it's cool that you internalize some of that too. Oh, I don't think Goo Goo Dolls is that weird because I think every 90s alternative band owes a debt of gratitude to the Replacements for like moving the needle in that direction.
I just hate the Goo Goo Dolls so fucking much.
They suck.
They suck so bad. I hate that fucking band. So like to think of them being influenced by a band I actually like is just a little bit upsetting, honestly.
But I think the Goo Goo Dolls' earlier stuff had more of an edge to it.
That's what they said about themselves.
We used to be cool.
We used to be like the Replacements, and then we started to suck really hard. No, they
Then
suck.
that Nicolas
that
Cage
band.
movie came out.
The Replacements.
The City of
I
Angels.
did not. I have not seen that.
The City of Angels or the Replacements?
Wait, the Replacements is Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, where he plays football. And
Oh my
Orlando
God.
Jones.
What
if
about
I'm
the
not
City
mistaken.
of Angels?
The Goo Goo Dolls did the
Is
song
City of
for
Angels?
the City of Angels.
Oh.
That's where that song comes from. That's when I think of Goo Goo Dolls. I think of the City of Angels,
Ew.
which is that Nicolas Cage movie where he like dies and comes back to Meg Ryan.
What the fuck is that movie? Oh my God.
I don't know. I've never seen it. I have seen the Replacements. I saw the Replacements in theaters. Yeah, that's my Replacements connection. I saw the Replacements back in 2000 at the Durant Cinema.
Apparently there's like a TV show too, I think. Oh, speaking of connections, Westerberg's birthday is the day after mine.
Oh, nice.
He's a New Year's Eve B-Day.
So based on those 4 albums, they tour nonstop. They like start getting an underground following. I think that's their ceiling, right? Like, I think that's best case scenario for them, filling out like underground clubs across the country, having that like personal show experience versus like arena or like huge shows or like state fairground type shows.
Which is way more fucking fun anyway.
I think so too, but I think that that's the logical next step, right? Like if you're already doing well and succeeding in
guess.
that avenue, like the next jump up is going to be
Is more money.
and more people. I mean, you make things, you want people to see those things.
Well, I mean, you could play multiple shows in the same city. That's what the Dresden Dolls just came through and played 2 shows in each city.
Yeah, but think about when the Clash came over and sold out Shea Stadium. You know, like it's taken that underground thing and then putting it on this giant stage. I would argue the Clash pulled it off pretty well. I would argue the Replacements didn't really. That just wasn't their thing.
The Replacements is sort of in between the Sex Pistols and the Clash somewhere on that front. You know what I mean?
Yes, more presentable than the Sex Pistols, less wide appeal than the Clash, or like less of that production ability, stage production ability.
Yeah, and like the Sex Pistols burnt out and they only had 1 album and then died and shit.
It's kind of amazing that the Replacements didn't burn out in that same way. I mean, with all the drugs and drinking and stuff, like,
well, I mean, 1 did.
yeah, but it was in 95. I mean, it was 10 years after he
way
wasn't
later.
in the band anymore. Okay, so that's where they start getting their major label recognition or whatever, and start having record executives come out to sign them and shit, is post Let It Be. That was their biggest underground album or indie album.
The end of an era.
So they start having record execs show up to their shows, and they start, in another example of self-sabotage, intentionally playing poorly when they know the record execs are going to be there. So it's like, I don't know. It's which way do you want it? You know what I mean? Do you want to be the sloppy drunk band that just messes around and plays clubs? Do you want to play to the major label attitude and audience and all that stuff? But I think that was another example of them like kind of getting in their own way and not either committing one direction or the other. Because if you look at like a Fugazi, where they were automatically committed to going the independent route the entire time and like very adamant about that, were able to find success doing that. Or you look at other bands that are like, we're going to sign to a major, like the Clash or whatever, and then use that to get our music in front of people. You could go that direction. And I kind of feel like they tried to split the difference and didn't really succeed in either direction. But they did eventually sign to Sire, which is a Warner Brothers subsidiary. Did you see who produced their next album?
Was it Spectre?
No, it was Tommy Ramone.
Oh, yeah, I did see that.
So the Ramones were on Sire, which is like this is where all the connections start rolling in. And so their major label debut is Tim, which, again, hilarious album title to me. In the interview, they're just like, we just thought it was funny to call it an album Tim. I was like, you know what?
Do you know
It
who
is
Tim
funny.
was?
There was that guy in the documentary that said he was Tim, but I like
Yeah.
grain of salt, man.
You don't believe him?
I don't know.
I took it as total fact. He was like, yeah, I passed out at a show and slept through the whole show and they thought it was funny. That was basically the story.
I think Tim thinks the album Tim is named after him. I think Norm from Cheers thinks
Sure.
Here Comes a Regular is about him.
At least Tim was actually there.
I think it's really easy to internalize or like identify with a lot of the stuff in a lot of their songs because they're written. They are really
The shit's
personal
relatable,
songs.
man.
Yeah, they're really relatable. They're really personal.
I think personal stuff is often the most relatable.
Yeah, definitely. But like their songs aren't big. They're not political at all. And I don't think that they're about world events or stuff like that. They all seem to be really introspective and really personal, which I think is the biggest departure from a band like The Clash that was a lot more globally focused.
Well, I kind of feel like even the personal stuff is somewhat political at the same time.
Expand.
Like Unsatisfied.
Oh, yeah.
That could be a really super personal singular message, but it could also be a very broad whole world message.
Yeah, I think that's true. But I think that's why people identify with them so heavily. Is because you can kind of read your own self.
And also the like pro homo stuff is sort of inherently political as well.
That's true.
I think that they have political stuff in their lyrical content just simply because that's who they were and how they felt about stuff, which, you know, like most bands. I don't think that they were going out of their way to be like an overly in your face politics type of band, much less like the Clash and other bands like that who are actively, or like Chumbawamba, who are actively trying to change things. I feel like the Replacements weren't quite as pushing it at you kind of a thing. They were just felt the way they felt about things, and so it did show up in the lyric, but that wasn't the point.
It didn't have the like call to action part of it.
Yeah, totally.
Of like, you should be mad about this and go do something about it, sort of.
Yeah, which kind of gives me like, I don't know, Lou Reed vibes. I was getting Neil Young vibes. There's one song that I always think is a Neil Young song when it starts.
So this one, I think Tim might be my favorite album of theirs. I think Let It Be might be their best album. I think Tim might be my favorite, if that makes sense.
I love Swinging Party.
It's got Tommy Ramones was a producer on this one.
Yeah, I like this one too because I do love the Ramones too. So that makes sense.
This one was really the one where their production like started to get in the way of the band a little bit. This one sounded dated to me. It sounded a lot more 80s. There was a lot more reverb on everything. I'm not crazy about the studio sound of this album. I like a lot of the songs on here. But apparently this is kind of the end of Bob Stinson's run with the band. And in one of the interviews with Tommy Ramone, they asked him how many days Bob was in studio for. And they said he was there for 1 day. So like all of his guitar parts were tracked in 1 day because he was like coming in and out or not showing up or showing up and like not having anything to do. And so then he would leave and then not come back for days at a time. There's not a lot of Bob Stinson on this album. And he was kind of like the lead guitar player and a lot of the like craziness, and he was a big prog rock fan apparently, so like a lot of his lead stuff was really weird and kind of out there, especially for, you know, ostensibly punk rock band at the time. I think you kind of miss his influence on this one a little bit. I think it's a little more straightforward than it would have been without him. Did you listen to the Let It Bleed edition of Tim? Is that on anywhere for you?
It is, but
it's got the different album cover.
Yeah, no, I just listened to the original. I didn't listen to this
Okay,
one.
dude.
It is on here though.
You have got to go back and listen to the Let It Bleed edition.
Okay,
because
done.
what they
It's been
did,
fucking
they
3.5 hours long.
well, just listen to the first 11, like the actual album. It's got a bunch of bonus tracks and remastered.
I'll listen to this whole last thing, trust. I'm surprised I didn't already.
It's got a live recording of it.
I should have done that instead of I re-listened to the compilation that's all their albums on one compilation.
You have to go re-listen to this mix. It takes
I
Tim and they remixed it. It's not just a remastering and like changing levels and that sort of thing. They got all the original tracks, remixed everything. They added parts, like they brought up a bunch of Bob Stinson's guitar parts and like put them in the songs where they were supposed to be, but got left off the original recordings of it. They took a bunch of the reverb off. This version of this album is incredible. It sounds amazing. It is 10
Fuck yeah.
times better of an album, in my opinion.
It's kind of like the Cut Down Clash.
Yes, yeah, the remix one was like they took all that weird stuff out that made it
Yeah.
suck and actually made it sound good. And but like go back and listen to the Let It Bleed version of Tim. Like the other one's good. Like I said, that one is probably my favorite of their albums, but this one's incredible. Every song sounds better. I also think, and I know it's cliche, but I think Bastards of Young is my favorite Replacements song.
Nice.
I think it is like their anthem. I think it sums up their whole thing pretty well. For the Clash analogy, it's London Calling for the Replacements.
We have to listen to those back to back now.
Yeah, I wanted to do each track next to each other where it's like one version and then the other version just to really be able to hear the difference. But it was nice. I don't usually like remixes, but it was nice being able to listen to it without the emotional attachment to the original one and like just listen to them as two separate things. Because I'm not hearing the new ones like, well, it's supposed to sound like whatever. It's just hearing the new ones and they sound better.
Waitress in the Sky was just kind of interesting, talking shit about flight attendants for no real reason.
Yeah, I know. I was like, which flight attendant pissed this guy off?
Like, what the fuck is this
story.
about? Yeah. Did you listen to the Lorde cover of Swinging Party?
I did not. I saw that it existed, but
it's really good. It's possibly better than the original, honestly.
That's a person that was like surprising to see brought up in the Replacements conversation.
I didn't think so. She's very deep and her musical roots go deeper than you would expect. Lorde is very good. You should listen to Lorde.
I don't have time. All I do is listen to bands for this podcast. I don't listen to any other music.
I fucking feel you, dude.
Just Selena and the Replacements.
I'm not gonna lie, I miss Selena.
I loved the Replacement. I went back and listened to basically everything twice.
Yeah, me too. I have enjoyed listening to this, but I will say that it doesn't quite get me going as much as some other things do. And maybe it would have been different if I would have listened to it more when I was younger. I'm sure it would have been different, but I don't know. They don't hit me as hard as a lot of other bands. But some of these people in the documentary, man, fucking the way they talk about them.
I think that's fair, but I think you're right. I think if you had listened to it when you were a teenager, or I don't know, I would speak for myself. I know that if I had listened to it as a teenager, it would have been,
Yeah, I agree.
Formative.
They gave me a lot of different, like, I feel like a lot of bands were influenced by them, like we were talking about. And I feel like they just had similar vibes to so many bands in the 80s. Like even the Cars, Buzzcocks, all kinds of shit.
To me, they gave a rougher version of that. Like they were like the scuzzy cousin to all of those bands.
Right.
Those
albums towards the end, though, I feel like when they cleaned up a little bit, were giving very much more cleaned up, produced Cars type energy,
Yes.
And like I said before, Bruce Springsteen. I was really feeling some Bruce Springsteen vibes in there. Also, a connection to Sly and the Family Stone and I think a couple other bands. This fucking Frere Jacques shit is in so many songs. What is with this Are You Sleeping Brother John shit? Why does that appeal to so many bands lyrically? I fucking hate that song.
It's probably because it's like one of the first things you learn when you're learning to play an instrument, like one of the first songs you learn.
That shit drives me nuts. And so many bands use it. What the fuck is happening? It was in their second album. A whole fucking shit about Are You Sleeping Brother John? Like a long ass Give Me Noise is the song. Give Me Noise. The last song on their second album, I believe. I heard that and I was like, what is with this Brother John that needs to fuck off?
So the next one for Sire, Pleased to Meet Me, that to me is that's the end of the peak for them. They had their first major label debut. I think Tim actually worked out really well. And then Pleased to Meet Me. This one sounds like that we're going to blow up. This is our album. This is going to be this is going to be the one that takes us off.
I love the name of it too.
The name and the album
it's
cover.
So fucking funny.
Great and
so
hilarious.
Good. Yeah, I think that's the album cover when I think of them. That's the album cover I think of.
He has a bunch of song titles and stuff that are like a little twist of like Pleased to Meet Me or like Don't You Know Who I Thought I Was. That's the name of their like greatest hits thing. But it's like a lot of that just changing the one little word to the opposite.
All shook down instead of all shook up.
Yes. So he was like, get it. This was recorded in Memphis at Ardent Studios. Does that mean anything to you? Because it did not mean anything to me.
No.
The band Big Star from the 70s.
Yeah.
There's this band Big Star, and they're like a pop rock group from the 70s. And Alex Chilton is the lead singer for the band Big Star. And he basically, like, they recorded all their stuff at Arden Studios. The song Alex Chilton is on this album, referring to Alex Chilton, who recorded the studio and who's also on this album in a couple of different places. And like Big Star was one of those big influences on Westerberg and I think the Replacements in general. And it's that, like, talking about it being weird influences or whatever, it's that really, really poppy sensibility and like pop rock style that ends up being what they turned into and like what they were going for kind of all along. Like, I always thought of them as being a punk rock band. After this, I think of them more as being like a pop rock or an alt rock or even like a classic rock sort of band. Like, I think that's really more
Totally
what their vibe was.
And Can't Hardly Wait, that song. These people, these guys love fucking wordplay and shit, and they love references, kind of like They Might Be Giants. But Can't Hardly Wait, you saw that movie, right? That movie's so
didn't know it was a Replacement song.
Well, yeah, the song plays like over the credits or whatever, and that's why again with all these references, like the Replacements love referencing people, and people love referencing the Replacements. Right. So like whoever made that movie loved the fucking Replacements, obviously. And I thought it was funny because one of the main, like possibly the most memorable song from that movie is Guns N' Roses' Paradise City.
Uh-huh.
And what's his face after being in the Replacements played for Guns N' Roses.
Yeah. Tommy Stinson went to be their bass. He was a bass player for like 16 years. Like he was in Guns N' Roses longer than he was in the Replacements.
So I thought that was kind of funny. I fucking love that movie so much.
So or maybe it's Paul Westerberg. It's either him or the band is in the movie Saved. So I wanted to watch Saved and Can't Hardly Wait in my preparation for this.
Oh, that movie's so good. Saved has been coming up a lot lately. I need to rewatch that.
So that to me was like, I think it was supposed to be their huge, like that, the album cover, all of that to me says like, hey, we're meeting this head on. Like, we're going to blow up now. We're going to do our major label thing. We're going to get huge. And then it just didn't take off. They didn't have a huge song off of that. They didn't get a ton of radio play.
I think by that point, they were already huge to the people they were going to be huge to.
Yes.
You know?
And the people they were huge to, signing to a major label and putting out a polished record is not how you keep those people happy. And I don't think they were polished or poppy enough to convert a ton of new people. I mean, I'm sure it sold better than their other stuff, but it wasn't that like crossover hit. I saw a lot of stuff about like REM as like a parallel. Like,
yeah, everyone connects REM. Are they from the same place?
No, REM's from Georgia.
There was something on one of the docs about maybe they recorded with one of the same people that for fucking recorded REM or something.
Yeah, there's a producer or something somewhere that had something to do with REM. So Pleased to Meet Me was also the first one they did as a 3-piece because they kicked Bob out of the band after Tim.
Yeah, that's the one they wanted to name Where's Bob or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. Which is also funny because Bob's face is on the cover of Tim. Like he's the weird, creepy pink guy, the like upside down.
Okay.
That's Bob Stinson. That's his face up above the little hallway thing.
Yes.
What a horrible, horrible album cover. It's not as bad as the Iron Maiden one.
Yeah, I saw somebody talking shit about it on one of the documentaries.
Yeah, it's not good.
I don't hate it. It's giving Fugazi.
It actually, I thought the same thing. The Red Medicine one where they're in the ocean or whatever, but the Let It Bleed where it's just the band on it, it's like, okay, that at least looks normal.
All Shook Down is giving Tracy Chapman with the like dogs.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yes, 100%. I thought that same thing. It's like that looks like a
or
Tracy
like Beck.
Actually, Don't Tell a Soul and All Shook Down both give pretty Tracy Chapman vibe. But Don't Tell a Soul looks like it might be Patti Smith on the cover.
I thought that as well, and it also looks like Lou Reed.
So, Don't Tell a Soul, the dude that either mixed or mastered this is a dude that worked on Tina Turner's Foreign Affair.
Nice.
And so it's like, listen to the production value of that album.
I'm telling you, that shit got way more 80s.
Yeah, and then like know that was because the guy that worked with Tina Turner worked on that album.
Right.
That's the vibe they were going for with that one.
It's so fucking crazy. Well, and that's how it is with movies too. It's like the editor or producer or whatever, whoever's doing the certain little very specific things, it makes it a completely different fucking thing.
Yeah. Yeah, the
Like,
same
you could
like
take
input and then you twist it in a totally different way.
exactly. It's
Yeah.
crazy how much of a difference that makes. People who wouldn't know wouldn't think that, I feel like.
Yeah, the production teams and like who produced what. And that's why kind of like following producers from band to band is like that's an interesting thing to do too, because you can see their similar touches or
Totally.
whatever. Don't Tell a Soul was the halfway through that one. I was listening to it. I was like playing video games. I wasn't even like 100% focused on it, but I was like, this sucks. Like, I do not like this. I'm over it. It sounded like uninspired and way 80s and just not good. I was like, oh, I think I'm off the train. Like, it sounded like adult alternative 90s acoustic rock stuff.
Straight up contemporary vibes. Yeah, dude. What I said was a little too much of that bad late 80s, early 90s cheesy Americana shit.
Yeah, it says adult contemporary blandness, spin doctors, goo goo dolls, alt. Like,
I also wrote contemporary.
boo.
Strange. And that's what happened to Tracy towards the end, too.
I had always saw that they toured with Tom Petty.
That makes sense to
and
me.
there was this whole thing about the tour they did with Tom Petty that was like chaos and went really poorly, and like it kept coming up as I was reading stuff like this Tom Petty tour, and I was like, man, they toured with Tom Petty? That seems really weird. And then I listened to this album and I was like, okay, no, this totally tracks.
Yeah, I think that they have Tom Petty vibes.
Of course they toured with Tom Petty on this album, but this album sounds like it would pair well with Tom Petty when they got on that tour and were doing all their crazy drunken antics. That's
the
not
drunken
the same
antics
vibe.
do not pair well with the music.
Like, they broke into his tour bus and stole his wife's clothes and wore her clothes on stage and then like threw them out into the
Fun.
crowd.
Okay, that's a little bit fun.
Yeah,
I
for
mean, if I was the
us,
wife,
for
I would
sure.
be pissed.
Yeah, for us, it's great, but you could see how that might rub some people the wrong way.
Speaking of them stealing stuff, they did a very Spice Girls heist. Did you see
Yes,
that?
yeah. That's what it was. It made me, yeah. I was like, I've heard this story
But
before.
they did it worse than the Spice Girls. The Spice Girls did it successfully. What they did was they just stole copies of their shit, so they didn't even steal the originals.
Didn't steal the originals, stole copies of their masters, ran out of the studio, and then threw the masters into the river. They didn't even do
The
it to like
copies.
keep them. Yes, they didn't know it was the copies. They thought it
Well,
was.
no, that's what they said that they wanted to do. They said they wanted the reasoning behind their heist. Like the Spice Girls heist actually made sense. This heist was like drunken nonsense, probably. But it was like, we want the album that comes out to be the only album of ours that exists, basically. That the only album that you know is just whatever the new one is. And so every time there's a new one, we want to throw away all the old shit. And that's what they were trying to do. But then they didn't even fucking steal the masters. So
Again, self-sabotaging and not even doing that correctly.
But they failed their own sabotage.
So, but Don't Tell a Soul was remixed and remastered later on. It was another one that was like re-released in 2006 with a different production style on it, or 2008, I think. And it was on like I said, I listened to more of this band than I normally do, but it was on Dead Man's Pop. They released all these new mixes of that album that I hated. All the new mixes again sound way better. They sound less 80s. They sound less like reverbed out. They sound less Tina Turner. Called Dead Man's Pop. It's another one that's got like 45 different tracks on it, but the first 11 are remixed versions of the songs that were on Don't Tell a Soul, and they sound way better.
I'll find that somewhere. It's not on Spotify, but this band is good. I will be re-listening to a lot of these.
But like both the remixes, Tim and the Don't Tell a Soul remix, are like well worth listening to. And I actually think both of them sound better than the original releases.
Okay, sick.
So I'm glad the masters didn't end up at the bottom of a river, because we ended up with better versions of the albums.
Well, okay, this kind of goes back to, though, this is interesting because you had a different opinion on the last episode on Selena with the remixes after she died. You kind of were opposed. Is it because of the vocal change?
The ones that like aged her voice, yeah, definitely. And they didn't do that. It's not a aging up. It's taking the original tracks and then
See, I agree. Okay, I agree.
It's not making a new thing.
Yeah, that AI shit's fucking weird.
Yeah, it wasn't like they did like an AI guitar part and then said Bob Stinson's back in the studio. Like that
Sure.
would be gross.
Yeah,
it was
okay.
taking the stuff that they recorded at the time and they didn't even like overdub new stuff on it. They just used the original recordings and remix them. And then the last album, All Shook Down, was like basically a Paul Westerberg solo album originally, and then the studio like convinced him to bring in
It was All Shook Down.
Tommy Stinson. Basically, it was just him and Tommy Stinson at that point. The drummer had left like right or left like right after that or something, or right before it. He wasn't on a lot of the tracks. So by that point, it was really just Tommy Stinson and Paul Westerberg were the original members. They had a new guitar player that replaced Bob, Slim Dunlop. When you're asking about who Slim was, that was the guitar player that replaced Bob Stinson for the last few albums. But so John Cale is on that album. He played viola on, well, I don't know, one of the slow acoustic-y songs. So that was the Patti Smith connection, because John Cale produced her first album. So that they had a bunch of connections. They tied to like 4 or 5 different bands.
I assumed that there would be a Patti Smith connection.
There were 2 for Patti Smith. They had one of their mastering dudes also worked on Patti Smith stuff.
It makes sense to me that they would be connected to
Patti Smith. Definitely same. But see, I think like Patti Smith was more of an artist than these guys were.
Sure.
But that, like, All Shook Down is whatever. Like, it would be fine if it was a Paul Westerberg solo album. Like, I don't think it adds to the Replacements body of work.
When I saw the song Attitude, I was kind of hoping it was going to be a Misfits cover.
Yeah, that'd be nice. They probably played some Misfits covers.
Oh, surely.
I saw a kid wearing a Misfits shirt today, and I thought, like, the Replacements are a better band than the Misfits. But the Misfits had way better branding than the Replacements did. Like, as far as getting
God, I love the Misfits. And I love the Sex Pistols, too. Back to that. They're all just different,
Yeah, different shades.
I would have to do a complete, retrospective look at the Misfits to be able to say which one's better. It depends on what you mean by better. More enjoyable to listen to could be the Misfits for me. But also, again, back to the thing where if you listen to it when you were like a teenager,
right,
that makes it
which you did with the Misfits
way better to you. I was obsessed with the Misfits. So
so they have an emotional connection that it's hard to remove yourself from.
It really is impossible, as a matter of fact.
And I don't think you should want to. I think that's part of why people identify with music.
Sure, it's fun. That's what music's all about, baby.
So, but you see what I mean about the like attempted sellout storyline? Like, it starts with like punk rock, super underground, and then like, oh, they're finally getting pretty good. They're getting decent. They're getting a following, signed to a major, and then like the production value shoots way up. The first couple of albums, I would argue, are pretty good, but like I think you lose a lot of those underground people. But it just never got to that next tier up to really justify. I consider the Replacements a no-hit wonder.
Yeah.
They just went for a whole decade, made a bunch of really solid albums. Nothing ever really blew up. Nothing ever got huge. And then they kind of fell apart there at the end.
I think Can't Hardly Wait's probably their most popular song.
There was one at the time that got a bunch of radio play, and it was from All Shook Down.
Oh, interesting.
It was either All Shook Down or the one before it.
Their most covered song is Androgynous.
Well, that makes sense. It's
so good. It's so
it's
good.
a great song, and I think it's also pretty easy to cover too. Like,
totally. Oh, it's just so pleasing though. Joan Jett does a really good cover of it.
I saw Laura Jane Grace did a cover of it.
Yep. So good, dude. So good. Ahead of its time.
Okay, so I have my like era of Replacements. What do you think the peak or the pinnacle, or which era of the Replacements do you prefer?
The Let It Be is a good time. Also, the beginning albums are very enjoyable to me.
Yeah.
But probably Let It Be and Tim and Pleased to Meet Me are like the peak, maybe? Or maybe right on the other side of the peak.
It was interesting to have so many other people talk about this band, because I think those are the albums that are like the albums, right? But I think they're right. I think those are the 3 best. I think like if those were the only 3 you listen to, like, you're good. The other ones, if you like it, go back and dig into it. I still think Hootenanny's a bit of a, hey, isn't this cool, like a novelty sort of thing. But
Sorry,
I think
Mom forgot to take out the trash, I think is really fucking good.
If you like punk rock, that would be a great album.
Yeah.
For you. If you don't like punk rock, it's not going to convince you.
That was for me when I listened to that. I was like, oh yeah, this is totally the shit that I listened to back in the day,
Yeah.
I think what they've done here is
This is about Reese's peanut butter cups.
Yes.
Okay.
The Reese's Puffs, they made them smaller than they normally are in the cereal. So they fit better in the cup, and that's made a big difference.
Do you feel like making foods mini adds something to it? Like thinking about the little mini M&Ms in a tube?
Oh yeah, so pleasing. I love miniatures. So I got mini ube cookies over there right now.
Have you seen the mini Doritos?
Oh my God, no.
They come in a Pringles tube, and they're little tiny. They're like...
That sounds adorbs. I would be pleased by that.
Big. They had Cool Ranch and nacho cheese. And let me tell you, they were good.
I'm going to be getting some of those.
I mean, they're good normal size, but yeah, I don't know why making food mini makes it better.
Well, it's easier to consume.
I would argue it's harder to consume. What if you drop it? You got to find the little...
Well, Once it's in your mouth, it's easier to consume.
That's a long distance. That's a big gap.
So here's another thing that I noticed about this band we're talking about
Mhm.
is fucking Johnny, man. Johnny, he's everywhere.
Those are references to Johnny Thunder.
Isn't one of the Ramones named Johnny, or am I crazy?
There's Joey, Johnny, Tommy, and
Ricky,
I don't
Jeffy.
know. I was gonna say Ricky. Jeffy.
I think he's like Mark
Goofy.
or something. I should fucking know. I had that goddamn shirt that with all their names on it. I had that tank top for like 20 years.
Earl. So Johnny Thunders was a member of the New York Dolls and the Heartbreakers. Is that the Tom Petty Heartbreakers? Okay, no, Johnny Thunders and the Heartbreakers is not the same as Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. But that's who Johnny's Gonna Die or whatever is about Johnny Thunders.
Okay, well, what about
I'll make up another Johnny if you keep giving them to me.
I think that there's probably a multitude of Johnnies.
I think a Johnny is a very common name. And so when you write a song about, like, I think it's just like dude, you know, like it's just if you're writing a song about a guy, Johnny's a good name for a guy. It's like a placeholder. Everybody knows a Johnny.
Well, yeah, it's like John Doe or whatever.
Yeah. And like when they say Johnny, you can think of a Johnny.
Here's Johnny.
Yeah.
Even the Clash had "War is just around the corner. Johnny hasn't got far to march." Blah blah blah. In the song English Civil War.
Yeah, I think it's just
Johnny's.
a placeholder. But I did read something that said that the Johnny's Gonna Die or was about Johnny Thunders. Because I guess they toured with him or played shows with him, something like that.
Johnny Angel, how I love him. So many Johnnies. Anyway.
So was this band more or less influential than you thought they were going to be?
Probably neutral.
About the same?
Yeah.
I like knew that they were influences, but it was really interesting to see.
Still surprising. I will say the people who were influenced by them is what surprises me, like the Goo Goo Dolls.
I think that's true, but it was interesting for me to hear the influences even. It was another kind of one of those ones where other than the production on the last 3 or 4 albums, it still sounded pretty fresh and current. And I'm telling you, dude, those remixes are where it's at. They sound
I'm gonna
great.
listen.
But like songwriting wise, and I definitely have an increased appreciation for them. And I kind of do wish that I would have listened to them years ago. I do wish that I would have gotten to grow up with them.
The songs that I heard back in the day, the songs that I already knew of theirs and liked, were just a little bit more mild to
Mhm.
me. So like Can't Hardly Wait and like Androgynous, they're kind of slow and they're kind of chill. And I think that if I would have listened to their first album when I was a youth, that
Yeah.
would have stuck with me. That would have got me hooked on it, and they would have been a lot more important to me had I heard those songs back then. But I didn't hear those songs for some reason because the other ones were more popular or whatever, I guess. So the songs that I heard did kind of put them in a Tom Petty space in my head, where it was like they're kind of in a Buzzcock space in my head too, just where like I like them and I know some of their songs or whatever, but it's not something that that really hit me in a way that really fucking grabbed me, you know?
Like you're not going to turn it off if it's on, but you're not going to seek it out.
I like it, actually. I do. I mean, I seek out some of the songs sometimes. Like, again, I have listened to like Swinging Party, for instance. In the past couple of years, I've listened to that multiple times. Like there were multiple, you know, like on Spotify, it has a check mark by it if it's on one of your playlists already.
Mhm.
And I was surprised at the amount of songs of theirs that I already have. So it's good stuff to put on playlists, I would say. But yeah, like listening to a whole album in a row or something, I would have been less likely to do probably.
You know, this has been the biggest shift from like the first time through. I thought like it's good, it's fine, you know, like not even in a bad way, but like it's good, but kind of left it at that. As I have gone back and revisited and like I've watched live videos of it. I think the live record, there's a ton of really good bootleg live recordings on YouTube. I don't know, like the more I listen to it, the more I like it. So I can really see why they have that like deeply obsessive fan base.
Yeah.
A lot of punk rock and even alternative or like guitar driven music can be kind of shallow. And I don't think that's really the case here. I think the opposite's kind of true, that like, I think there's a lot to it. And I think there's a ton of stuff that I still either haven't picked up on or, you know, haven't really dug into or thought about. Like, I think these songs are thoughtful in a way that a lot of the peers or like bands that they get maybe lumped in with aren't.
Yes.
Which is weird for such a sloppy, drunk, self-sabotaging band. It's a weird dichotomy there.
Well, they're intellectual drunks, maybe, or at least Westerberg. I don't know who's writing most of the lyrical
Westerberg.
Was that Westerberg?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's part of the reason why the drummer left, is he originally was bringing songs, and then it just got to the point where it was like none of his songs they never did anything with them. And I also think he wasn't as messed up as the rest of them were. I don't think he did as much drugs and stuff.
yeah, that was the vibe I got. Like he was the calmer one.
He's the only one that didn't go do, even Bob, after he left, played in a few other bands around Minneapolis. Once the Chris Mars left, he became like a visual artist and like a painter and did like art stuff.
Well, yeah, I saw that he was like one guy said he was a better at drawing than he was at drumming.
Yeah, but he like didn't, like, he left music, you know what I mean? It wasn't just that he left the Replacements, he left music in general. And I think there's an element of like sadness to a lot of their songs, or like,
For sure. Less despair, I think, than like Fugazi or something though.
yeah, not bleak necessarily.
Yeah.
But see, Fugazi to me is about like the world is a ruined place.
Well, I think the Replacements feel that way too, but are just a little bit less apathetic or more apathetic about it, and
Yeah.
possibly a little bit more self-focused.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, the world is not what the issue. I'm the issue. That's not the thing that's messed up, or not that that's not messed up, but like their songs are about how they, as humans, are messed up.
Well, yeah, and it's all connected. Like the world's messed up, so we are messed up as humans because of that a lot of the time.
Yeah, and then they also have songs like "Gary's Got a Boner,"
Right.
you know, which is like
the one about
there
kissing
is-
on the bus or whatever.
Fugazi does not have a sense of humor. The Replacements definitely like 60% sense of humor.
I totally agree. And that is one thing that I meant to say in the Selena episode that I didn't say, is like, if you don't know the language, you're missing a lot of humor
Yeah.
there, because they were really funny too. And a lot of the bands we've done have like this really cool sense of humor, which I really appreciate.
There's
It's
a
like
really
shit sucks, but we have to laugh about it or we're going to just kill ourselves.
yeah, it's gonna suck one way or the other, so we might as well be
Right.
There's a really interesting, it's like a 1990, like towards the end of the Replacements, interview with Tommy Stinson and Paul Westerberg and Kurt Loder. And it's just like they're like drinking coffee and smoking cigarettes, and it's just the two of them, and they are taking it about as seriously as you would take like a telemarketer call, you know, like he's asking them good questions, and they just
Kurt Loder didn't fuck around.
they just don't give a shit. And you can tell that Kurt Loder is having a hoot interviewing them. Like they're talking shit on like other bands. I don't know. It's really worth watching, because you get a sense of like this is why people liked these guys, is they're very, very, very likable guys. I think in small doses or from the outside, like brief interactions, they would have been a hoot to hang out with.
A hootenanny, if you will.
Having to rely on them or depend on them or like forced extended periods of time with them, you would probably want to murder them and each other.
Well, this is something I've been thinking about a lot lately, actually. Pretty much, I would say most people that are fun to hang around are not fun to hang around if you hang out with them too often.
Yeah, unless they can turn it off and like, you know, like, but if you only have that one speed of like,
I kind of feel that way about myself, honestly.
well, you're stuck with you, so
I'm only fun for a certain length of time, and then we're gonna hit the limit where it's not gonna be fun anymore.
for you or for them?
Both. All involved.
Speaking of which, I kid.
I love boundaries.
Replacements recommended to everyone. What's your thought on like how they fit in the musical au revoir?
Any person who's like a fan of certain bands, you know, I would
Mhm.
recommend to people of a certain age, men, honestly,
Yeah.
like men of a certain age. I recommended them to my dad. I don't know how much he'll like them, but
And what outcome, like what are you hoping for there? That it will help him be more like thoughtful or sensitive, or just that
no.
he'll like it?
Shh, just that he'll like it. There was literally nothing deep about it. Yeah. So I don't know, just probably people who already appreciate a lot of specific music, kind of like us, people like us that like know all these other bands that are influenced by them and stuff. Like it's just like a fun exercise to go back to. Where did this come from? Kind of.
I think you could reverse engineer a Replacements fan if you had like a Tom Petty sort of, like, they fill a gap between 90s alternative and 70s classic rock. Like I think if you
Yes.
found
like a Gen X man.
Yes, like they're the
Yeah.
connective tissue between like Bad Company and Third Eye Blind or something, you know?
Which is
Like,
why I recommended them to my dad, because he loves that cheesy, disgusting shit that I hate, like Third Eye Blind and Goo Goo Dolls or whatever. He likes that shit. And he also likes classic rock and stuff. So I agree. I feel like it's a good middle ground between some.
because for them you could start with the new, you know, the most recent replacements album and kind of work your way
Exactly.
backwards.
Exactly. He would probably be more a fan of the newer albums, actually.
Yeah.
And then I have other friends that I think would obviously be more fans of the old stuff. And then I have friends who I think would be more fans of the middle section. I think there's a lot of people who could like this, but again, I do think it's one of those bands that it's just kind of like if you weren't right there at the time
Yeah.
with it, you know, it's just a little bit less. It just doesn't hit as hard.
I agree. I think that like having experienced this band in their time and place, like would have been a wildly different and much more meaningful experience.
Yeah, I wanted it to hit a little harder.
Even more so than thinking about like me listening to it when I was at the right age. Like I think being the right age at the right time, like I don't know, that like exponentially. But I think that's why they bred those like
Diehards.
diehards, like people that go to so
They're
many shows.
obsessed, dude. People on Reddit are fucking, he's the best guitar player in the, and I'm like, no.
I would, Westerberg, he's not even the best guitar player in the Replacements.
Like literally. Well, and it's funny because okay, I liked the trajectory of the band names, by the way. They started out as Dog Breath, which I was a huge fan of. I love that as a band name.
Especially for the punk version of them. Yes.
That's the perfect name for them. But honestly, so is the Replacements, and so is the Impediments, which was what they were before the Replacements. Like all three of those names really are perfect for them. So
okay, did you see all the stuff saying that their like nickname is the Mats? If you want to be cool, you got to call them the Mats.
yeah, because it's like the Placemats.
Yes, which I thought was like, that's funny. I don't know. They just have so many like.
I thought it was funny because I already had that thought of like Placemats. Like
Yeah.
I already connected that before I read it.
They have a lot of charm.
I think the humor and the intelligence is what that's about.
And I think that covered a lot of issues for them for a certain amount of time. I think that their issues eventually caught up with them. Like Tommy Stinson and the Steve Foley, who was the last drummer that like toured with them after their last album and stuff, they started another band together after the Replacements. They were in a band called Bash and Pop together. They released an album in 92. And so it's like, if you go through all this stuff, you lost Bob, you lost Chris, the other drummer, and then at the end they break up and the remaining members get together without Paul Westerberg. Like that tells you maybe where some of the issues were, you know what I mean? Like when you reform a band without one of the people back in it.
Well, and he manipulated that whole band from the get-go too.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting. I would like to see some Selena style conspiracy theory YouTube videos about how he orchestrated this whole thing to serve himself or something.
Even in his solo stuff, he doesn't seem like he wants to be famous.
I think he wants to be famous, but he doesn't want to be.
I think there's a perfect level of notoriety for them. And I don't think it's like mega stardom. I think it's like the people who know.
I think that's where they hit, but I
Right.
do think that he wanted more. Because I did see some interview of him saying that he tried to be more mainstream and it just didn't like work out or whatever. He wasn't successful in his goal, basically there. I think a lot of punk bands want to be famous, but they don't want to be famous.
See, and I don't even think they consider themselves a punk band. I don't think after Stink they really are even trying to be a punk, quote unquote, punk band anymore. And I don't,
And they're
especially
not.
being from Minneapolis and not like New York or like an epicenter of punk rock, I think it was a lot easier for them to slip out of the punk rock sound without having as much backlash for that.
Yeah, I was confused on like what to even call it. It sounds like so many things that like rock is the best.
Yeah,
thing I can come
alternative
up with.
rock. It's alt rock, or a lot of people said college rock. That label doesn't really mean much to me.
That means nothing. You know what though? A lot of people said hardcore, and
No.
even their most hardcore punk stuff wasn't
No.
hardcore to me. No,
No,
I agree.
that's
So many
wrong.
people said hardcore.
Those people are
I
wrong.
agree.
I
Totally
very
fucking
rarely
agree.
make blanket statements, but all of those people are completely wrong.
I agree, man. Because when they said that, I was like, this is not what hardcore is to me. Am I missing something? Am I wrong here? Like,
Cool. Well, I'm sure there's stuff that like, and this is another one where it's like, there's no way we're gonna hit everything for everybody. But it's like, I'm also with all of these things, I'm really interested in stories about the replacements, or like because everybody had such a different interaction with them, whether seeing them live or like how did you connect with them, or like in that documentary where everybody that they talked to had a different favorite album. Like as they were going through, it was like, oh, that one's the best. That one's the best. That
The
one's the best.
documentary
Like,
was good. Yeah, I liked the documentary a lot.
I thought that was kind of cool that there is a little bit of something for everybody, and everybody's going to take a little different something from the whole thing. Man, we didn't talk about the replacements reunion. We didn't talk about them getting banned from SNL.
Oh shit, yeah. Yeah, they smashed a lot of shit.
They were like I said, they from the outside fun. If you had to deal with them, I could see it being a real
Alcoholism is a bitch, dude.
Well, and I kind of think they were assholes too.
Can you be that big of an asshole to be able to just fucking destroy shit so much sober? They threw a couch out a 2-story window. Like they fucking pulled a chandelier out of a ceiling. Like all kinds of fucked up shit. I can't get down with that.
Funny stories now. I do want to read that tour book that she pulled up though, because I feel like there's going to be a bunch of those stories in there.
Oh,
like that's
sure.
like I kind of want to know some of those stories a little bit more.
Yeah, well, and it's from the roadie's perspective, and
Right.
It seemed really super interesting, like the quotes and stuff that I read from it, and little parts that I read. And yeah, it's only a 3-hour audiobook. So
any other thoughts on the placemats?
Well, from that documentary, a thought from that is, did you notice that the Bristols, that chick band?
Yeah, see, they were on there, and that's who the Answering Machines was. That the Answering Machine song?
I think
Is that
maybe,
about
yeah.
her?
I was like, I want to listen to them. The Bristols have 2 albums on Spotify, so I kind of want to do them at some point. They seem cool. Anyway, yeah, the Replacements, enjoyed it. Wasn't my favorite band in the world or anything, but they influenced a lot of stuff that I really, really, really love. So fuck yeah.
Listen to those remixes and tell me what you think.
I will.
Cool. Okay. Well, are you ready to reveal our next band in our journey?
I am.
Okay, let's hear it. Let's do it.
And I chose this because it's summertime, and we've been wanting to have fun and listening to some fun music that's kind of our speed or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a band that is our speed, that I feel like maybe that you'll really like, but you don't maybe know that much of yet. So I decided to choose L7.
Oh, cool. Okay. I'm into that. That's a good one. They're
in the vein of Bikini Kill.
Yeah. Well, and I know that they're like there's a lot of stories about them. You know what I mean? They were in
lore,
zeitgeist.
mucho lore.
Yes.
Kind of like the Replacements.
Yes. Yeah, it's honestly mentally a very similar place of like I know stories about them, but I've listened to a couple of their songs and maybe even a couple of albums, but not to
I
the
had a
point where
handful of their albums as a youth. I was pretty into them for a while.
So the Replacements were 80, 79 to whatever, 90 or whatever. They're 89 to 99. So it's like literally just the next decade.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was wanting to, because I know we've done a lot of 80s, you said, this season. So I was kind of wanting to give us a little punk rock and give us a little outside of the 80s something.
No, I'm into that. That's gonna be fun. I think it'll be interesting to see influence wise stuff we've already talked about bleeding into this too.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be one of the ones that you're really going to enjoy.
Yeah, I'm into that one. That's a good pick.
So who's our Wheel of Death?
Okay. You can probably guess who our Wheel of Death is going to be. I didn't really have anything 100% in mind, but we've been doing, I think our Wheel of Deaths are kind of reactions to the the bands that we cover and maybe the dark side of those coins.
Please don't say the Goo Goo Dolls.
So based on our conversation today, our Wheel of Death band coming in at a mere 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
14
6,
albums
7,
if it's the
8,
fucking
9,
Goo Goo
10,
Dolls.
11, 12.
And I literally have on my list a big no next to them.
Our next Wheel of Death band is the Goo.
God
Goo
damn
Dolls.
it. They're one
to
of the
be.
ones that I literally considered giving a veto if you ever said them. That's why it says no in huge caps right next to their name.
It had to be. We don't have to include the City of Angels soundtrack. We do have to include the song Iris. I don't know if it appears anywhere else.
That fucking song. And yeah, I'm certain it's on that album of theirs that came out at that time that sucks so fucking bad.
Okay,
Dude,
twofold. Here's some actual
so
interest here. The replacements' influence on them, they suck. But also
so bad.
the Lawrence Arms, Brendan Kelly from the Lawrence Arms has named the lead singer of the Goo Goo Dolls as one of his vocal influences. And so I want to see a connection there. I'm looking for a connection between the Lawrence Arm and the Goo Goo Dolls.
I don't approve, but I'm going to let it slide.
It's just
let
going on
this
the
one
wheel.
slide.
It's a less than 10% chance. All right, a mere 7 L7 albums.
And then you chose fucking 14 albums for the goddamn Goo Goo Dolls.
It's supposed to be punishment for enjoying things.
Thanks for listening to Retro Spectrum. Be sure and leave us a 5-star review and follow along with us on all social media platforms at Retro Spectrum Pod. If you like what we do, subscribe to our Patreon at Retro Spectrum Pod for bonus episodes, playlists, and access to our Discord. Hope you enjoyed the show. See you next time.